So the race for third is heating up big time. Arsenal are having a wobble. Man United seem to have got their act in gear, and Man City are looking pretty steady with De Bruyne back. But which one will get the coveted third position?
The coveted third
It
position?
is coveted.
At what point
I'll tell you why
has it ever been
I'll
coveted?
tell you why. Because fourth has turned into just not a poison challenge because you're getting in the Champions League, so it's fine. But finishing fourth's not good for Arsenal, is it? There's a stigma around it, right?
Listen, at the moment, I'll take it.
Really?
I'll take it as well, I'll be honest.
If your season's petering out, you just then, the next thing, you're not going to win the league. The next thing you have to do as one of the top clubs is get into the top four, so you're in the Champions League. It's very important when it comes, in particular, with the sort of players you may be able to sign in the summer. Those top players are going to want Champions League football, so it is important. It is very important.
And in all seriousness, third place means you don't have to qualify, which is helpful. I mean, ultimately, most people who finish fourth, they end up being okay, and they'll get through those qualifying rounds. But the other thing is that we've found out that if Man City finish fifth, but win the Champions League, and Liverpool win the Champions League as well, Europa League as well, sorry, then whoever finishes fourth, be it Man United or Arsenal, wouldn't make the Champions League. You'd be in the Europa League.
Happened to Spurs.
Yep.
Could happen to Arsenal.
What would happen?
That's going to be vulnerable.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how angry would Arsenal fans and Man United fans be if that happened?
You can't stop that. That's out of your powers. If you get into the top four, you've done your job. If somebody else...
Try telling fans of Arsenal that when
it will still piss you off, but there's nothing you can do about it.
You'd be angry. You'd be really angry. I agree with Sam on that. I think basically for Man United or Arsenal, if you got that fourth place and then you ultimately lost it because that scenario happened, you'd only have yourself to blame because you shouldn't really be in that position anyway. So, it just has to be one of the things you swallow.
And I personally don't really fully agree that if you don't finish in the Champions League, you can't get the top players. United weren't in the Champions League, and we got all the players we wanted.
Did you?
I think I thought we made great. Everybody's talking and saying Man United.
Floor's yours.
Everyone's saying that Man United made terrible signings. Our signings were not atrocious. They were
Martial was
right. No, from the start we went through. We needed a new right back. We signed a new right back. We got Matteo Darmian, and he was excellent at the start, and he's gone off the boil. He's been poor. Bellerin's been better. You won that argument. 1-0 to Rob.
Let's move on.
We needed to sign the central midfielder. We got Morgan Schneider, arguably the best defensive midfielder in the league last year. Hasn't done it this year. We thought it was going to be Kante. Hasn't really worked out. Schweinsteiger was a risk. Hasn't paid off. Martial was a signing that everyone said, what a waste of money. Go away. 14, just go back to your hole, right? Because 14 goals, 7 assists. He's one of the most exciting players in the league. What are you sitting there holding your one finger up for?
It's one good signing. Okay.
Oh, is that one good signing? You say
at least they're making signings, Robbie.
Oh, yes. Thank you, James.
Anyway.
Touch me, James.
So, sorry.
I'm
going to get Charles some bits now.
The thing is about it, right, is that you've not justified your argument.
No, we made smart signings.
One good signing.
We made smart signings that United needed to make.
Let's stick to the topic. So just to say, before West Ham fans get really, really angry with me, we're talking about third place. We know you can still get fourth place, and I really hope you do, but in terms of third place, it's probably a little bit out of reach. Arsenal were in the driving seat for finishing third. Are you concerned? You've got Norwich at home, Man City away, which is a massive game, Aston Villa at home. Tricky one to finish with, but how do you think you're going to do?
Listen, it's still in our hands, isn't it? So if we win all three of those, we finish in third place. So obviously City's the hard one out of that. I think City will be coming off of the back of whatever happens to them in the Champions League, so that will have an effect on it. If they go through, they'll be on a high. If they go out, maybe they might be on a bit of a downer, then they face us at the weekend. Everybody knows that when you have to play a game straight after a tough away Champions League fixture, it's never easy.
Yeah.
So that gives a little bit of advantage, I say, to Arsenal. Plus, I don't think Arsenal should have anything to fear in that game because they beat Man City away there last year. We beat them at home this season. We've actually, apart from the Man United away game, we've had a decent record against most of the teams up there. You know, we didn't lose to Tottenham home and away. We beat Leicester home and away. So I don't think there's anything to fear. We just got 3 games to play. On paper, we should beat Norwich. We usually beat Norwich at home. and the last game against Aston Villa, if we wasn't to,
Imagine if you lost that one.
if we either lose or draw that game, then we don't deserve to be in the top 4.
Yeah.
So basically, it's in our hands. I think that Arsenal could definitely get 3rd spot. It's definitely there for the taking.
Man United have kind of, I mean, symptomatic of your entire season of like, this is awful, this is awful. Hang on a minute, they're all right. No, this is awful, this is awful. And we're on this sort of, you're on the upturn again. Great game against Everton at the weekend.
Best game this season.
But Everton could have won that game. You could have won it by more. And your fixtures are tricky here. There's a key game that, I mean, you've got Leicester this weekend, but a massive game is your game in hand, which is West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham away. Obviously, we played the last FA Cup game at Upton Park. We won there. We're now playing the last Premier League game at Upton Park. Yeah. Hopefully we can make it 2 out of 2. But, that's really hard. That's going to be our game in hand. But for me, looking at it, we've got Arsenal, Man City and United. The pressure is on Arsenal the most out of the 3 teams because of where they've been this season, and it was their league to have, and it's slipped a little bit. But they can still finish in the top 4, so it doesn't all kind of go to shreds.
Yeah.
City fell apart after they announced Guardiola, but I still think they're they look quite comfortable. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. But Arsenal play City, so someone's going to drop points in that game.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it's interesting, because if you win your game if you can win all your games and win your game in hand, you're 2 points off, and then they've got to play each other. If you draw that one,
tough games there.
It's going to get tricky. Absolutely.
You've got Leicester at home.
Norwich away is never really an easy game for United.
Hold on, wait. Before you get to that, you've got Leicester at home. That's a hard game.
I don't think Leicester are going to win the league at Old Trafford. I'll say that now. I think United are going to win this weekend. I thought the 1-0.
Why? What's the evidence of
what?
What's the evidence that you think?
We played Leicester away this year, and I
beat you.
1-0. Thank you.
Oh, was it draw?
Second of all, did I say United were going to win the?
All right, you drew with them. You
all right,
didn't
we drew with it, and I thought we should have won that game. They had one chance. Vardy buried it. Apart from that, we had more of the pressure, and Schweinsteiger equalised. But I think.
What about the team that we haven't spoken about properly? Man City. They played a very tricky game even before the second leg of the Champions League away at Southampton. That's not an easy game. And what do you do in terms of the players? You've got one guy, Silva, who's definitely not going to play that game. Do you rest others? Because that's a massive game against Real Madrid next week.
True. I mean, I don't think they can afford to rest Aguero, because they really need to win that game. They obviously they'll be aware of the Champions League's places. De Bruyne seems to be the player that they have been sort of trying to rest. He just came out from injury the other day. But can they afford to rest him now that Silva's out, like you said? It's tricky. And Southampton, they're a good team. They've got something to play for. They've got a manager who will demand a lot of them.
If you're putting yourself in Pellegrini's shoes and you're heading into this weekend and you've got a Champions League semi-final before you leave the club, do you really care where City finish in the league this year? Not in the slightest.
I think it's a good point. With all the riches of that squad, you should, this isn't a season to be saying this sentence, but they should be beating Southampton, really, even if it is away from home.
That's a great point. I mean, they've got, we always hear that they've got this great squad. They've got guys like Delph and people like that they can bring in. But it's just that some of the backup hasn't really been good this year. Guys like Wilfred Boney, I suppose they've
been relying on Ian out, yeah.
But it's, I don't know, it's going to be tough. That's
going to be
a
very
tough
tricky
game for them.
So ultimately, what's the order? Third, fourth, fifth, and you can put West Ham in this, of course.
Technically, I could. I'm going to go for City third, United fourth, and Arsenal fifth.
Okay, Robin.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm going. I think Arsenal will come third, City fourth, Manchester United in fifth.
Fifth.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's listen. It's not even an anti-Man United thing. I just think it's gonna be really difficult because of the points that you got to make up. I just think it's gonna be really difficult for you to make those points up.
For us, it all depends on what we do against West Ham.
Games.
If we can win West Ham,
I think
no one knows.
It's just what we can do against West Ham. What about Leicester?
I told you we're beating Leicester this weekend. I've told you that already.
Oh, okay.
And for me, it's got to be Man City third. I think West Ham will get that fourth spot. No doubt in my mind about that. And Arsenal will probably get fifth.
West Ham, okay.
Sixth though. Sixth.
Come on, you Hammers.
Sixth.
Come on, the underdog. So let us know what your order is. Who's going to finish third, fourth, fifth in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. And if you want to subscribe to the Bull Street channel, click on Sam's face.